We got hards on. We're going to the end.
That's right, 2025. That's the year we're currently in. So, you don't believe in 2025? You're living in one, mate. Predictions for the 2025 season is what I'm going to be doing. A lot of you people might be going, that's a bit early. That's a bit soon. What are you doing there? Well, someone's jumping the gun. Someone can't think of a single other thing to do in this off season, so he's doing predictions maybe arguably a little bit too early. I would say no, man. I would say, where's the fun in predicting Alpine are going to win the whole thing? Because you see in testing that they're actually really quick. You know what I mean? So I feel like it actually kind of makes more sense to do it now anyway. I'm here, I'm doing it now anyway. So I've got my predictions here on a list. They're in a list. You piss off. They're in a list, and it's the drivers. I've also predicted the race winners. I did that last year as well. And I know that last year, like, there was some mistakes to be made, but they weren't really mistakes. I didn't predict Verstappen to win, things like this. We all know it. It's historic. Everyone's talking about it. Trust me. Don't Google it. Just trust me. And you know, what can I say? I believe in a bit of manifestation. I believe in a bit of hope. Now, did it work? No. No. But what I think is that, look, in my mind when I'm making a prediction, I just like go with what I want. And I just try and rationalize how it could happen and find facts to back up why it could happen. And then it could happen. So that's kind of how my predictions usually go. I'm going to go for the drivers, obviously, 20-1. And then we'll talk about race winners. Yeah. And I've got to do another one of these next week. And I don't know what to do. I'm just trying to think of something week to week. When Drive to Survive drops, if they're dropping that this year, that's going to be a savior for me, because honestly, like, when it comes to F1 news, I don't really care if the chassis are getting fatter and more jiggly. Like, I want, all the teams are decided. We know who's in, who's out, who's hot, who's not, all that kind of shit. So, like, other news outside of that, it doesn't really tickle my taint, if you will. No, that wasn't me asking. Sorry. I said that phrase with the wrong cadence. Anyway, 20-1, let's go. And I'm going to have to actually hold this laptop close to my face right now, simply because I don't know who this kid is. I'm putting him last. Bortoleto. I'm just trying to say it as if, like, I'm not sounding out like an infant. Bortoleto. He's in Kick Team Sauber, who I'm kind of predicting to be woeful, bad, shit, synonyms for, not good. I don't know, man. They weren't good this year. And again, I'm kind of rationalizing reasons why Williams could be more than just a straight line pace team and get their shit done. I mean, they've got the lineup for it is one thing I'm using. Just like you got Sainz and Albon, that is a great lineup that should inspire something. You know what I mean? And it's, they're well punching above their weight with that lineup. And, I'm expecting, like, with Williams in all departments, I'm just expecting upwards because of that. Like, that simply alone, the fact you've got Sainz and Albon. Like, I'm expecting cooler liveries. I'm expecting cooler race suits. I'm expecting maybe too much, and maybe I'm going to be let down because of that. But that's what I'm expecting, man. That's a little spoiler for you for where I've got Williams later on. Don't worry, they're not in the top half. Just everyone calm down at the Williams factory. And just above him, I've got Hülkenberg. Now, some people, like, when they were ranking drivers this year, they put Hülkenberg, like, pound for pound as arguably the best driver. I think that's bullshit. I've said that before. I don't think the pound for pound is even that useful or necessary when, like, talking about drivers in Formula 1. Like, on face value, you go, it is, because some people are in worse cars. They can only do what they can in their cars. But I just think that, like, to suggest that he had... I know we can only go off what we saw, and what I'm doing is talking about, like, if buts and maybes. But, yeah, he did well. He beat his teammate. He did well. He dragged the Haas maybe to places it shouldn't have been a couple of times. But the people who are saying he's above... It's in some people's predictions, they had him, like, second after Verstappen. It's like, yeah, but I also believe Leclerc would have done the same thing if he was in that car. Like, I know we haven't seen that be the case, but I'm going to take that into account. Like, I believe Leclerc would do the same thing in there. I believe Norris would do the same thing in there. I don't believe Hülkenberg would do the same thing in the Ferrari that Leclerc is doing or Norris is doing. So I'm not going to put him above. Like, Hülkenberg had a good season. But ultimately, the guy's been in the sport for a while, and he's never been on the podium, right? And I just, like, how good are ya? I know he's, like, decent. He had a good season. This isn't like me trying to, like, debunk Hülkenberg being good. Actually, he's shit exposed. What I'm trying to say is he good enough to take what I think is going to be the worst car on the grid to points enough times to not be P19? And essentially, my answer is no. Going up from there, we've got Hadjar. Hadjar? You can tell this is the driver I know second least about. The only difference between him and Bortoleto is I've heard his name before. It's been in passing. It's like it's been caught in the wind at times, and I've like picked up on it just like while walking past. But I don't know anything about his prior seasons in other categories. I don't know how good he is. I don't know. I could draw a picture maybe of what he looks like, and I think it'd be good enough for like a really good like FBI, CIA kind of detective to find him off of that drawing. Maybe I think I could do that. But I don't think that constitutes knowing someone, knowing their general features and hair colour. I've got him in 18th. The V-Carb is a weird one. Do I think Hadjar's going to do better than Ricciardo did in that car last season? Ricciardo, who had a shit show, apparently, that's what people lead you to believe. I don't think he actually did that bad. I actually think he did a decent job. I think Yuki's very underrated. I think Yuki's going to beat him easily. I think the biggest gap between teammates could be Verstappen and Lawson, but I reckon there's a good chance, at least in positions in the table, maybe not on points. But I reckon there's a good chance, if in terms of positions in the table, the biggest gap will be between Yuki and Hadjar. Maybe that's just me being ignorant because I don't know who this kid is, but I think Yuki's probably top 3 most underrated drivers on the grid. And I think if that V-Carb is... Okay, with this one, I'm going... If the V-Carb is exactly what it was last year, I don't really see this kid coming in and extracting much out of it to be higher than like P18 really. Even if it's slightly better of a car than maybe what other cars are. I just see Yuki because Yuki finished above Daniel, because Yuki and Daniel was very back and forth, I felt like. One weekend Yuki was better, one weekend Daniel was better. But when Yuki was better, he would finish P10, he'd finish P9. When Daniel was better, he'd finish P11, he'd finish P12, or he'd get some bad luck and he would DNF. And it's like, on the weekends he was better, it felt like he didn't maximize points and stuff. So I just kind of see Yuki having the same good season. And I see his teammate not doing as well as Daniel did, who I don't think did that bad. It's just more that he's old at this point and he has to be beating Yuki. He can't just be like hanging in there. So it makes sense to get a different guy in, but I just think the first season, I've not heard crazy things about him. Put it this way, I've heard a lot about Kimi Antonelli. I've not seen him race once in my life, but I get the gist he might be good, you know what I mean? So I'll put Hadjar here. Going up from there, 17th, I've got Behrman. Haas is a team that I never give a fuck about. Their driver lineups I never give a fuck about. This year is no different. This year they've got Behrman and Esti Besti. Yeah, no. So this is a team that's going to go hard in the paint on Twitter. I think they're going to be getting a lot of cutesy edits. But I actually don't like Esteban Ocon that much. He just gives me the ick. And Behrman... Behrman's done nothing wrong, but I just don't massively care about Behrman. He's not like the kind of like put it this. I said put it this way too many times, but put it this way. I like Liam Lawson, and when you watch Drive to Survive, Liam Lawson sits in the chair and he goes, "It's fucking bullshit. It should be fucking me." You know what I mean? I like that, and he's talking about Daniel Ricciardo, who's probably a bit of a legend. I know that he's a Kiwi, Daniel's an Aussie, but probably a bit of a legend to Lawson, and he's talking about Yuki Tsunoda, who he was like roommates with in Milton Keynes. You know what I mean? So I just think I kind of like that. And Behrman is the polar opposite. Behrman couldn't like rip. He's just nice, and that's not allowed. Get niceties out of Formula One. We want arseholes here. Going up from there, 16th, I've got Jack Doohan. Another Aussie. They're infiltrating at a rate of knots in the Alpine. I mean, I really respect a team. McLaren did it, Alpine did it, who can start a season abhorrently shit and turn it around within that same season. On top of that, like, we witnessed Alpine have a season where you're sacked, you're fired. What? Okay, you're sacked too. You know what? You can come back. Just joking, you're sacked. Our livery's ugly, apparently. We're slow. We've got teammates who apparently hate each other. And amongst all that chaos, they actually was all right. So, like, if things are just kind of going a little bit better, if the waters are slightly less choppy, then I expect them to do a good job, because they've proven that to me. They just stand the test of time, I feel like. And Doohan, I've put 16th, not because I think he's better than Behrman or Hulkenberg. I just think maybe he's going to have the machinery to do it. And I don't think he's going to hit the ground running. I think he's going to be pretty mid. But I don't know. A lot of people like him, and I can't tell if that's just a TikTok thing or if that's because he's got something about him. But the hype I hear for Doohan is kind of similar to the hype I was hearing for Lawson. I don't think he's going to be as good as Lawson, but I just think that he'll be very mid, not doing anything impressive, and then maybe like 8 races in, he like has a decent performance, and everyone's like, Jack Doohan. I got him 16th. I'm not exactly saying it's going to be, going up from there. 15th, I've got Albon. So that answers the debate of, do I have Albon finally being found out, or Carlos Sainz? No, that's the same thing. Do I have Albon being found out, or do I have Albon triumphing against an actual difficult teammate? Albon has regained his stocks, and it's like, the way in which he's like regained his stocks is interesting, because he gets something maybe too much too soon. He gets knocked out. He comes back, and it's kind of like getting knocked out by Mike Tyson, and then getting back in the ring. But now you're fighting like Mr. Bean, and you beat him, and then you have a fight with like Joe Biden, and you knock him clean out, and everyone's like, yo, he just went back to back. There's 2 knockouts in a row. He's back, baby. He's back. Like, offer him this much money. Put him up for this heavyweight title thing. And it's like, yeah, but he's got to beat someone good. And I look at Carlos Sainz and I go, this guy's, a young Norris, but he beat a young Norris every time I think he had a season with him. He really held his own very well with Charles Leclerc, who a lot of people considered to be best talents on the grid. And, he's getting wins in that Ferrari. He didn't deserve to lose that seat. It's just that when Hamilton comes knocking, what can you do, man? Like, Carlos Sainz is a very good driver. This isn't me looking down on Albon. It's just saying, hey, Carlos is good. And I think this will bring the best out of Albon. I think he's in a better position now to, not shit the bed, basically, when he gets beaten by his teammate. And normally, Colapinto kind of came in and made him sweat a little bit. So I feel like if Colapinto's making you sweat, Carlos Sainz might put him into cardiac arrest. I don't know. But I still think Albon, they'll have moments where it's like, whoa, Albon's in the full swing of things. Sainz is. I don't really think Albon, knowing the team, is going to do massive things over the course of who finishes. Oh, I know the team. The bathrooms are actually that way. The 2 doors down. Like, okay, I actually know James Vowles' middle name. And I actually know that, I don't think that, especially in this team, is going to have that much of an impact on who's got the upper hand. Or if there's going to be a number 1 driver and things like that. I'm just hoping, everyone bucks their ideas up a little bit. Going up from there in 14th, I've got Ocon in the Haas. So that's the other Haas car. I had them in 17th. Ocon I got in 14th. Ocon, even though he's not my favourite driver on the grid, Ocon is a good driver. He's a good driver. And he's not always the best teammate. But I think Behrman, he can push around quite easily. I think he'll easily be number 1. He's going to like that. And it's going to be Behrman doing the dirty work for Ocon, which I think is the way sort of the world order needs to be. For Ocon to sort of do well in a team, he needs to be the number 1 with someone else shining his boots. And ultimately, Ocon's just decent. He's going to do a better job. Like, I don't know if Behrman will be 17th and Ocon will be 14th, but I feel like that's the kind of gap place-wise we're going to see between them, regardless where they are. I think it'll be pretty comfortable. I know a lot of people rate Bateman. He ain't got the personality of Bateman. I know a lot of people rate Behrman. He did decent in a Ferrari, but he was in a Ferrari. And Ferraris are quick, and he did an alright job, but I don't know, there wasn't many overtakes, there wasn't a lot of stuff to go off. And yeah, maybe I'm underrating him, but I just don't know, man. Like, Gasly beat Ocon last season. Do I think he's going to come in and be a Gasly as good as Gasly? I think Ocon's good. And I hate to say it. Sainz 13th. Heady height to 13th. I know it's a fall from grace after the Ferraris and stuff, but look, comfortably beating Albon 2 places below you. I think he will do that. I'd be very surprised, pleasantly surprised maybe, if Albon really showed something, because I don't think there's many people, apart from maybe his close family, who are genuinely going, oh yeah, I'm very confident he's going to beat Carlos Sainz. And this isn't nothing to do with the Verstappen of it all. It's just that you've been in there with like tadpoles, and Carlos Sainz has been fighting sharks. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't know if Albon's going to be fully prepared for what Carlos Sainz has to offer. And Carlos Sainz, he's got stuff up here. And Albon's got stuff up here. But I'm pointing to my head for the audio listeners. But Carlos Sainz, He's got a brain. He knows how to use it in weather conditions, in different situations. He doesn't let his team make him do fucked choices. And he's been around the block, mate. Carlos Sainz, he's a jobbing actor. He's been here. He's done a couple episodes on Holby City. He's played second fiddle. He's done some stand-in work. He's had a couple supporting artist roles. He got an Oscar nod, an Oscar nomination. Like, he's been around the block and he's been up and down and he's had a real career. And I just feel like Albon has been like, a regular on Coronation Street, for the Coronation Street heads out there. And like, he's just been on that comfortable for too long. He's got a little bit comfortable. I'm the man. I'm making the big bucks. I call the shots. And it's like, do you though? Do you though? You know what I mean? Going up from there in 12th, I got Yuki. I think I got Yuki bang on last year and I got Gasly bang on. So we'll see if that remains true and I just really know these drivers. But I got Yuki up here in 12th. The Heady Heights at 12th, considering that's a big gap. As I said earlier, Hadja down in 18th. But I think points-wise, he was like 10, 12 above Daniel. I just think the gap surely is just going to be bigger. Yuki's going to keep doing what he's doing, where like he's just about he's getting into those Q3s. He's a great qualifier, and he's going to be eking out 1 point here, 2 points there. And if that V-Carb's decent, I think he's fully going to take advantage of that. Hadja, I just really see him being one of those drivers who come in, drivers who come in for like a race here and there, kind of thinking like Fittipaldi, was that his name? These people who come in and they're just nothing special. Maybe I've completely out of my fucking mind and this guy's won F2 like 7 times in a row. Probably should do my research. I could ask, should we ask, hey Google, where did Isaac Hadjar finish in F2?
Here is some information from the web that might possibly help.
Go on then.
According to Wikipedia, Hadjar graduated to FIA Formula 2 in 2023, finishing runner-up to Gabriel Bortoleto the following season with Campos. His successes in Formula 2 saw him nicknamed Le Petit Prost in French media.
Yeah, but that's French media, mate. They love blowing smoke up the... Wait, is he French? Hadjar doesn't sound like a French name, so I doubt they're just doing it out of biasness. But either way, so he was runner-up to Bortoleto. Wait, hey Google, where did Kimi Antonelli finish in the F2 season?
Sorry, I don't understand.
Oh,
but
fuck
I found
off.
Something related. Do you want to know, is Kimi Antonelli in F2?
No, it's not. I want to know, mate. But Kimi didn't win F2. I don't even know if he was on the... I actually should Google, actually. I know I could have Googled the whole time. It's just more fun to ask this piece of trash. Sorry, actually. One day those things are going to grow emotions and get pissed, so I shouldn't say stuff like that. F2 standings. Because I'm actually curious here. And I know it's not straight up a category where it's just like all the cars are equal. It's not as much as people say it is. I get that. But who was his teammate? It doesn't even show me really who's teammate. I'm assuming he was probably ahead of his teammate comfortably. Because I don't think any of these people above him, Crawford, Maloney, Aaron, Hadjar or Bortoleto, were his teammates. So he probably did beat his teammate. Wasn't Behrman his teammate? Yeah, Behrman's down here in 12th. So he beat Behrman convincingly. Behrman had 75 points. But Behrman probably missed weekends because he was always getting called up. That guy was the most unemployed person ever. So he probably missed weekends. Behrman got 75. Anthony got 113. But yeah, Hadjar finished second. Bortoleto finished first. I don't know. I guess George Russell finished first. Leclerc probably won it. I think Lando Norris was second. I think Albon was third. But other years, Nick De Vries won. Then again, he got his shot like 8 years later, but, still. So, it's tricky. I just think Bortoleto's got a worse off seat than Hadjar does. Hadjar's going to go above him for me. Either way, I'm expecting very little from both. So what the fuck does it matter? Going up from there, we got Lance Stroll and Alonso. I did remember just now, actually, that they got that guy whose name I can't remember from Red Bull, who apparently is like the Messiah, and the Muad'Dib, and anything he touches turns to gold. And he left Red Bull and he's now at Aston Martin. So maybe they're going to bullet build the whole thing and just get really good and quick. I don't know. Maybe I've missed something there, but I didn't think about that when I wrote this. I just think Alonso, he's getting old. He's getting on. And you get older, your back hurts, you get like eye issues, you just get older. The guy's driving a quick car. And also like, hey Google, how old's Fernando Alonso?
43 years old.
Mate, the guy's 43. He's not far off retirement home. I just think, and also, where does the sort of the the motivation come from, really? Yeah, once again, my teammate Stroll and his dad owns the team, and we're just gonna maybe not win a race. I don't know. I just think I wouldn't even. You know what? I will say a hot take right now. I'm not predicting it, so it's not really a hot take. I wouldn't be surprised if Lance Stroll finished ahead of Alonso. I'm not predicting it, so maybe I would be a little bit surprised, but yeah, I'll put them right next to each other. I just don't really care about Aston Martin. I'm going to be very honest with you. I'll put them 11th and 10th. Going up in top 10, 9th, Gasly. I lied earlier. I said maybe Yuki and Hadjar was the biggest gap. Maybe not. Maybe Gasly and Doohan I might think is the biggest gap, actually. In terms of places, at least. I think at the end, in the driver standings. I don't know, man. Gasly's really good, and he reminded people of that. He went a little bit under the radar for a couple of years. People going, "Oh, is Gasly? What's Gasly up to?" Gasly's beating Ocon. That's what Gasly's up to. Gasly is having a really strong end to the last season. That's what Gasly's up to. Gasly is in Alpine, probably beating Doohan very comfortably. I don't expect big things from Doohan. Where did Doohan finish? Actually, is he in here? Was he in F2 last? No, he wasn't. He was reserve driver last year. Never mind. I don't think he was doing anything special anyway. Yeah, I just predict big things from Gasly. I got him right last season. And, I just think it does something to you being number one driver in a team you've been at a year or two. And just being like, yeah, things are going to go my way. Decisions are going to go my way. And it'll do him a bunch of confidence beating Ocon. I think he did beat Ocon. Going up from there, we got all the big teams left, the big teams, and I get he's apparently good. I get he's apparently the one. He's apparently him, but I can't in my right mind really predict Kimi Antonelli above any of the other drivers I've remaining. I've got him in 8th. In the Mercedes, I just don't know what kind of Mercedes we're going to get, and I'm sure he's going to come in and just be decent from the off like George Russell was. Where he didn't come straight into Formula 1 in a good car, but you know what I mean? Walk into that Mercedes and just be decent. But Russell is also very underrated. Maybe he's not, maybe he's just rated normally. But either way, he beat Hamilton, man. And Hamilton's getting on. But I'm predicting Hamilton to have a good season against Leclerc. I don't think Hamilton's done. So, that has to be said. Also, let it be known, the history books will tell you that over the 3 seasons, Hamilton did prevail. Hamilton did have more points. It was like 3 extra points, but he had more points. And ultimately, I think George Russell's good. He beat him 2 out of 3 seasons. Let's just say it how it is. And now he's the number one, and I think he's comfortable. And Kimi might rock him a couple of times, but I think it's quite easy. Kimi is a really tricky one because from what you hear on the street, the words on the street, right? Kimi, to me, he could finish anywhere like 2 places above Russell, 4 places below him. He really is an unknown quantity. There's something exciting about that. So yeah, Russell's P7. Going up from there, and this could be wrong. I could very easily see a world again where Liam Lawson is below both of these Mercedes drivers. But I just like his grit. I like how he was taking it to Perez with a way worse car. He takes it to these people. He doesn't just let these people get past. And I think if there's an opportunity to really race Max in a race for whatever reason, I think he'll race him. And I fucking love that about him. And I reckon he will get those opportunities because he's not Sergio Perez. I think he's going to qualify decently. Yuki qualified better than him on that return. So I reckon Max is going to convincingly beat him in qualifying most weekends, if not almost every weekend, basically. But all you really got to do is get to Q3. That's like the number one if you're Liam Lawson. Just is this angle sort of like not allowed? Yeah, all you got to do is get to Q3, right? And you get to Q3, you're doing better than Perez, and then build from there. And I think he'll at least be able to get to Q3. Going up from there, this is a bit of my hope predicting. This is a little bit of my like bullshit, which is that I'm predicting Hamilton to finish above Leclerc. All right, fine, pin me to the cross. Pin me to the cross. I'll die for my beliefs. I'll die for them. I like Hamilton. And like I said earlier, when it comes to predictions, I just do what I want to happen and then try and find rationale for it. And the rationale is he's got the bit between his teeth again. He's back. He wants to prove people wrong. He's in red. It's a new environment. It's a new start. He was qualifying bad, sure, but he wasn't racing bad for Mercedes. Fix up that qualifying. Maybe you haven't just lost it overnight. maybe in this new setup, in this new team, it's going to come back to you. And it's such a confidence thing, sport. You qualify good in the first race weekend. Oh my God, I'm back from the dead. You just carry that with you. You just live off that for so long. Realistically, I think Leclerc will beat Hamilton overall, if I'm being honest. But I can see a world, like a 20% world, where Hamilton beats out his teammate. Regardless, I think they're both going to have decent seasons. I just can't tell how good the Ferraris are going to be. Because when it comes to predictions, I always predict the Ferraris will be higher than they actually end up being for like the last 3 seasons. So now I'm just going to be like, okay, it's going to be how it usually is. They're going to have good race weekends, but ultimately, I think the players who I got left are going to be above. And the people who I got left, right, the top 3, if you worked it out, if you were paying attention, don't worry if you weren't, it's fine. I'm not going to hold it against you. We got Piastri, Verstappen, and Norris left. And let me tell you something right now. Let me sit up for this. Let me tell you something right now. Max Verstappen is not winning this championship. I don't care if I got to go to the races and put itching powder in his gloves myself. I don't care what I got to do. It ain't happening. Okay? I don't care how good testing looks either. Because after last year's testing, everyone told me he's going to have an even more dominant season than the one prior. He's going to win every race. And it did happen for the first 5, but then it didn't. Shut out. McLaren are here to play. And they're fucking it up a lot, but they're here to play a little bit. And now this season, if they're here to play from the start, and we get our shit right from the start, I think they'll see it through. And there'll be moments where we go, oh, our McLaren going to bottle, but they won't. And I decided to go, it's going to be convincing as well. It's going to be a 1-2 in the McLarens. And if I could rip off the shirt, you would see my Lando Norris tattoo on my bare skinny chest. Lando Norris to win the drivers. McLaren to win the constructors. Going to be a McLaren 1-2. The Red Bulls, they're in disarray. They got rid of that guy who's went to Aston. They got allegations going around. Max Verstappen's thinking, do I even want to be in this sport anymore? I've got a kid on the way. I'd like to be a father, maybe. I'd like to maybe try out different categories. I'm bored of this anyway. Who wants to race anyway, you know? And it's all just going to fall apart. But even amongst it falling apart, he's still Max Verstappen, so he's still going to drag the car up to P3. Not that, like some weekends it might be the 3rd best car. 4th best car. The fact that, it's more crazy to me that I think the Red Bulls might not be the best team, and yet I've got Lawson as high as 6. That just shows some real bias. Lawson slipped me some cash under the table because I'm giving him some real lip service today. That doesn't mean, that's not like I said under the table and I said lip service. Look, I've never met Liam Lawson, okay, and you can put that on record. But what I am saying is, this is obviously what I want. This is what I go to bed and I pray about. I know I've not spoke to you much recently, but there is one thing I could ask for, you know. It's what I need Santa to deliver from Christmas, and it would just be great, wouldn't it? Not only Norris winning, but chuck Piastri up there too. For so long I was like, I'll just put Piastri in like P4 and I'll put Verstappen P2, and I thought, no man, maybe the McLaren's just going to be dominant from the start, and Piastri is good, he's very good, so he has no reason not to be up there too. And if Verstappen has a more competitive teammate, maybe we finally have a teammate who's taken some points away from Verstappen now, because that wasn't happening before. Race wins, who have I got down here? I've got Norris, Piastri, Verstappen, Lawson, Leclerc, Hamilton, Russell and Alonso all winning races. Alonso might finally get that race when it's been a long time. Lawson up there, again, I'm continuing that propaganda. Hamilton, Russell, Leclerc didn't put Kimi in here. Maybe there won't be this many race wins. Maybe it doesn't line up with my other prediction that McLaren are going to have a really dominant season. Don't know. These were the names that just came to me in the middle of the night. So they're on here. But yeah, those are what I'm saying. I know there's a lot of people who would love it if that happened. But I know there's a whole lot more people who hate Lando Norris and therefore would hate it. And I would like to see it. I want it. I think I deserve it. And, you know, we'll see what happens. Those were my predictions for the 2025 season. I think it's going to be a great season. Again, that's hope speaking, but if you don't have hope, what do you have? Some say the hope kills you. I say that hope fuels you. Okay, so yeah. That's all though. This is, by the way, this is like the 3rd time I've done this and said these exact same words like in a row after each other. Not the exact same ones, I'm not an Android, but you know, I've done this twice already. So there's that. But you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. We got ours and we're going to the end. See you next week.